Alright. Alright, let's kick this off with the intro. Put that cookie down! 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 Cookie down! Cookie down! Put that cookie down! Put that cookie down! Hello, this is Mr. Horns 83. This is the Mr. Horns 83 show, and today we are doing a video talking about which movies I think are the best action movies of all the big action stars out there. This video shouldn't be as long as frickin' Friday or Monday's video, because Monday's video was pretty long. So long I should have made it a live stream. But you know what? I had the King of Rap live stream frickin' Friday, so yeah. Anyway. Which we have a poll up about that tomorrow. Sometime tomorrow. Anyway, let's talk about the big action stars and who I think, what their best movie is. And of course, we're going to start out with number one. And that is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger's done so many great movies over the years. He's had so many catchphrases over the years, and my freaking nose has got a little red dot on it. Looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, just coming off Christmas and looking like Rudolph. Anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger's done so many good movies over the years. He's got a lot of action hits. But, personally, in my opinion, I think his best movie, as far as action movies go, I'm going to go with Predator. And next up, I'm going to talk about his most underrated movie, because I don't hear a lot of people talk about this movie. I've heard people talk about Total Recall. I've heard people talk about Last Action Hero. I've heard people talk about Collateral Damage. I've heard people talk about Batman and Robin. I've heard people talk about Commando, Conan, all that. But I'm going to say the most underrated Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is Raw Deal. Raw Deal. Most underrated Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is Raw Deal. Worst Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. This is kind of tough, but you know what? I think I know what would be his worst movie. You know, a lot of people will call Last Action Hero his worst movie. A lot of people will call Batman and Robin his worst movie. But what was the movie I was getting ready to say? Crap, I forgot what his worst movie was. Shoot. Went blank on the worst movie. I'm trying to think. I just had the movie in my head, and then I don't know, it's disappeared. Shoot. I don't know. No, people would say probably End of Days, but I'm not going End of Days. I like End of Days. I think it's a good movie. I think that's an underrated Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Oh yeah. Worst Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machine. I hate Terminator 3. That's the worst of the frickin' bunch. I mean, I like the first two. I like 4 only because of Christian Bale, you know, with the whole Kyle Reese thing where it's like, it's Kyle Reese! Kyle Reese! Kyle Reese! It's him! It's Kyle Reese! It's Kyle Reese! So yeah, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machine I think is the worst movie. The least favorite of any. I haven't seen any of the newer Terminator movies outside of the freaking one with Christian Bale. But I'm going to say from 80s and 90s, his worst movie is freaking Terminator 3. When are we going to get that Conan 3 movie? I want that movie. Probably not, because Schwarzenegger probably retired. Anyway. But yeah. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machine. And also compare that with Charlie's Angels, Baby Bottle. If you watch Conan O'Brien, you get that joke. But anyway, yeah. Charlie's Angel, Baby Bottle. Alright, Sylvester Stallone. Gee whiz, Stallone's got so many good movies. He's got the Rocky movies, the Rambo movies, the frickin' Cobra. Not G.I. Joe Cobra. Cobra, frickin' all the frickin' movies. But my favorite, personally, frickin' Sylvester Stallone movie, that's the one I think's the best. I love Demolition Man. I watch that movie every single frickin' chance I get a chance. I love that movie. Pretty good. People say action movies, star movies were bad in the 90s, but I thought Demolition Man was a pretty good action movie. Not only that, you got Stallone taking on... It was like the first freaking movie that ever had a real freaking action hero dream match. We got Stallone taking on Wesley Snipes and Demolition Man. Where other actors wouldn't do movies together, like Van Damme and Seagal wouldn't do nothing against each other. Jet Li and freaking Jackie Chan didn't do nothing against each other. Arnie and Stallone didn't fight each other in a movie. They waited until later to do those movies. But yeah. So, best action movie for me, for Stallone, is Demolition Man. The most underrated Sylvester Stallone movie, because I don't hear nobody talk about it. I've heard people talk about movies like Over the Top and freaking Cliffhanger and what other movie was it that they talk about? Oh yeah, Night Stalkers or whatever it's called. But I have never heard anybody talk about the movie Sylvester Stallone was in with Keith Sullivan. Or not Keith Sullivan, Donald Sullivan, which was Lock Up. I think that's Stallone's most underrated movie out there. And I think a lot of people don't give it enough freaking credit. But I think that's like that's a very underrated movie in my opinion. Lock Up is the definition of underrated movies. I hear everybody talk about all his other movies, Over the Top and all that. Nobody ever talks about Lock Up. Where he about fries frickin' Donald Sullivan with a crooked frickin' warden in a frickin' prison that he's in. And he had a vendetta against Stallone's character throughout the movie. But I don't never hear anybody talk much about that movie. Kind of like Stallone, which, he got movies, you hear about movies like Total Recall or frickin', Running Man or something, but you never hear about Raw Deal too much. He went and took on 2 mob families and wiped 2 mob families out all by himself. Come on now. If they had Arnold back in the day, so they got the mob back in the day, he could have handled the mafia. Alright, next up, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I gotta say, I think the best Van Damme movie, I know a lot of people will probably go to Bloodsport or something like that, but honestly, I think Van Damme is pretty good in Double Impact. That's like the best Van Damme movie out there. I don't care what anybody else says. I love Lionheart. I love Death Warrant. I love freaking Hard Target. I love Time Cop. I love all that. But golly, come on now. Double Impact, that was the movie. That was the movie for Van Damme. I know Bloodsport got him his big break and all that, but, I gotta say Double Impact was great. And I don't know why more people don't talk about that movie. One of Van Damme's best movies out there. If you're not counting Bloodsport and that, but yeah. One of his best movies out there. Most underrated Van Damme movie, I don't know. I'd probably say probably Death Warrant. The Sandman. I think damn worth. I mean, I know people talk about it here and there, but they don't talk about it as much as they do so many other Van Damme movies. But yeah, I'd go with Death Warrant. Worst Van Damme movie? I gotta say, I think it's called it's Black Eagle or something like that. One of his earlier movies. I know he did No Retreat, No Surrender in that, which that's a movie we don't even hear much about. Can't even find it on any of the streaming services. In a world where we got a bunch of streaming services, can't even find the frickin' first real movie Van Damme was in, which was No Retreat, No Surrender. about a fan who's a big fan of Bruce Lee, and you know he gets into karate because he wants to be like Bruce Lee and all that. You know, he even goes to freaking Bruce Lee's grave. Who was it that played Bruce Lee's ghost in that freaking movie? Was it Jason Scott Lee or was it freaking Robin Shou or someone like that? I don't know. You know, but you can't even find that freaking movie on streaming services. But yeah, Black Eagle, I think that's what it's called, with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He plays a bad guy. And I don't think Van Damme was bad in the movie, but the rest of the freaking movie was just dumb. The parts that didn't have Van Damme just sucked. So yeah. But yeah. That's what I think of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now let's get to Steve Seagal. Steve Seagal is a punchline these days, but I'll tell you what, man. I gotta say, my opinion, a lot of people say Above the Law or Out for Justice is his best movie. But I like Marked for Death. I love that movie. It's a pretty good movie. You know, it's like one of my favorite Seagal movies out there. The villain's awesome. You know, the threat feels real. Where in freaking Out for Justice, he just knows he can whoop the guy. And it's some freaking out of shape fat guy he's fighting. Freaking out for. Maybe he'd make a good. Maybe he'd make a good villain in a later Steven Seagal movie where Steven Seagal is super fat. But come on now, I gotta say I like freaking Marked for Death. I think that movie's really good, and I think Exit Wounds is pretty underrated. Worst Steven Seagal movie, I'd say anything current he's done. No, I'll go with Half Past Dead. I watched that movie only because Ja Rule was in it. Well, it was Steven Seagal and Ja Rule. And Steven Seagal had a movie with DMX, which was Exit Wounds, but, yeah. I don't know, I just thought Half Past Dead is like Steven Seagal's worst movie. I watched it, never watched it again. I'm like, God, this movie's so stupid. Really stupid. Alright. Now we got the big four. We're going to go to somewhat newer guys. And, you know, first one I'm going to go with is Vin Diesel. Now, Vin Diesel, his best movie, ironically enough, is not a Fast and Furious movie. I think the first Triple X is Vin Diesel's best movie. The movie's really good. I enjoy that movie. Wish he would have been in the sequels to it, but he was in the third one. Him and Ice Cube were in that together. Ice Cube was in the second one, but yeah. I like, you know, Triple X. Most underrated movie for Vin Diesel, I'd probably say Pitch Black, which was like, what, one of his first movies? Pitch Black. Worst movie, shoot. I don't know. For underrated movie, though, I'd probably go, underrated Vin Diesel movie, I'd probably go with Knockaround Guys. Kind of a crime, drama, action movie, but, you know, and Vin Diesel's not the total main character, but he's one of the main characters. I don't know, Knockaround Guy is kind of an underrated Vin Diesel movie. Yeah, a lot of people know about Pitch Black, so yeah. I'll go with freaking Knockaround Guys. Even though Vin Diesel's totally not the main star of that movie, but he's in it. He's one of the last two in the movie, so yeah, I'll go with freaking Knockaround Guys. Underrated Vin Diesel movie. Worst Vin Diesel movie? Oh boy. You know what? I do not care for Chronicles of Riddick. That movie sucks. I would say The Pacifier, but I never watched Pacifier, and Pacifier is also supposed to be a comedy, so. But, you know, I'm gonna say, yeah, Chronicle of Riddick sucks. It was a follow-up to Pitch Black. It wasn't as good as Pitch Black. I don't know. I just didn't like it. And which that movie would be erased from history. Alright, Jason Statham. I think the Crank movies are really good. I like the movies. Especially him and his girlfriend doing it on him and his girlfriend doing it out in the street. That's like so funny, man. But yeah, I like the freaking Crank movies. Those are pretty good. underrated one. This is another case where he's not totally the main star, but he is one of the main stars because Ice Cube and the other lady's the main characters in it. But like he's the third main character in it. That's Ghost of Mars. I know a lot of people crapped on Ghost of Mars when it came out, but I like Ghost of Mars. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I saw that movie in theaters and I thought it was a good movie. I don't know why people crap on it so much. People talk about how bad Ice Cube's acting is in it. I thought Ice Cube was awesome. He was playing a badass in it. So, yeah. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So, yeah. I'd say underrated Jason Statham movie. Of course, Ghost of Mars. Worst Jason Statham movie. I don't know. I want to say Fast and Furious 7's also the best freaking Vin Diesel and Jason Statham movie because they fight in that movie. I know everybody's, gets depressed when they talk about that movie because that was the movie that, was the last one Paul Walker did before he unfortunately passed. But seeing that fight between Vin Diesel, Jason, and not only that, you got Dwayne Johnson in there in the fight too with Vin Diesel and Jason Statham. I mean, come on now. Well, he's mainly fighting with Statham because he the movie before that, he became cool with Vin Diesel and them, so, yeah. Anyway. Bruce Willis. What's Bruce Willis's best movie? You know what? A lot of people would say Die Hard. A lot of people would say so many other great movies Bruce Willis has done over the years, but my personal favorite Bruce Willis movie, and what I think is his best movie, is The Last Boy Scout. With him and Damon Wayans. And I wish that movie would have got a sequel. I wish him and Damon Wayans wouldn't have had so much issues with each other on the first movie. Because if him and Damon Wayans put their heads together and if they worked together pretty well in that, I wish we would have got a Last Boy Scout too. I really like that movie. It's a really good movie. I think Last Boy Scout is like the best Bruce Willis movie. Especially if I'm not going to pick Die Hard. Because so many people would go to Die Hard right off the bat on what the best Bruce Willis movie is. It's like, Die Hard. Well, that's pretty obvious, but this list is not obvious on who's the best, what movie is the best. But yeah, I think Last Boy Scout was a really good movie. I wish we would have got a sequel to it. If Damon Wayans and frickin' Bruce Willis wouldn't have clashed on that movie, that would have been a good sequel. Plus Daniel Harris being, the bratty teenage daughter was pretty cool too. She comes up with this character called Satan Claus. Yeah, well, speaking of Satan Claus, with that South Park arc about freaking Satan being pregnant by Donald Trump, wouldn't that have been funny if they would have had the baby born and it was Satan Claus? Gotta watch out for that Satan Claus. But yeah, man. I wish Bruce Willis and frickin' Damon Wayans wouldn't have clashed so much in the first movie, and then we would have got a second movie to The Last Boy Scout. But underrated Bruce Willis movie, Striking Distance. Yeah, Striking Distance. Stars him and Sarah Jessica Parker, the chick from the Sex and the City movies, or show. Yeah, I think Striking Distance is pretty good. It's about his uncle and all that being crooked cops and all that, and they had his dad killed because they found out that they were crooked. And then he finds out they're crooked, and, I don't know. But, yeah. I like Striking Distance. It's one of the Bruce Willis movies I'll sit there and watch. And I'm not going to claim I'm a big Bruce Willis fan, so yeah. Yeah, so Striking Distance. Underrated. Worst Bruce Willis movie. I'm going to say the freaking last Die Hard he did with, that had the dude from, Justin Long, the dude from freaking, Jeepers Creepers, Live Free, Die Hard. I'm going to say that's his worst movie. Because I'm not a big fan of that Die Hard movie. I mean, 1 through 3 of the Die Hard movies are pretty good. But, Live Free and Die Hard's kind of lame. You know what? No. You know what? I'm going to go with a different movie. I'm not going to go with Live Free Die Hard. I'm going to go with that frickin' Death Wish remake he did. The Death Wish remake is the one that sucked. He did a few years ago, like several years ago. I'm pretty sure Charles Bronson was rolling around in his grave. I don't know if Charles Bronson was dead then or not, but yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that frickin' Death Wish frickin' remake, because the original Death Wish movies are pretty good. Alright, I'll name a few more and then I'll end this video and talk about what I got coming on the rest of this week and then going into next week. But anyway. Next up, Chuck Norris. My favorite movie, and I've never seen the other two. I've only seen this one because they used to show it on 64 a lot. But my favorite Chuck Norris movie, I would say, is probably Mission Impossible 3. I like that movie. It's a pretty good movie. I haven't watched the other two movies. I know a lot of people's going to be like, well, what? You ain't watched the other two, but you're saying 3's the best? Hey, my list, if you want to make a list, you do it. If you've seen the other two Mission Impossibles, you watch them. But, you know, I tried watching the other two and I couldn't sit through them. But I could sit through Mission Impossible 3. Or not. Missing in Action. Mission Impossible is Tom Cruise. But you will not see any Tom Cruise movies on this list. I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. The only reason why I talked good about him last May was because my sister used to have a crush on him. My older sister, Kristen, used to have a crush on him. And I was doing a tribute to her for her birthday. But anyway. She also liked Brad Pitt, too. Ugh. Anyway. Yeah. Mission Action 3. Most underrated Chuck Norris movie. I know people hate this movie, but I like this movie. I think Jonathan Brandis is good in it, and I know Chuck Norris isn't in it that long, but I like Sidekicks. I like that movie. Yeah. I don't care what anybody else says about that movie. I like Sidekicks. Jonathan Brandis is great in it. Joe Piscopo's funny in it. Chuck Norris is good in this movie as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's an underrated movie. So many people give it so much hate. I don't know why. It's a good movie. Worst Chuck Norris movie is the one he did with the dog. The little poodle dog. That's what I'm saying is the worst Chuck Norris movie. Alright. Got a few more and then I'm going to end this video. We'll have to talk about what I got set up. Alright, next up, let's go with Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, I'm going to go with Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry. I like the Dirty Harry movies. They're pretty good. Those are the only Clint Eastwood movies I like. Underrated Clint Eastwood movies. The Pink Cadillac? I'll go with Pink Cadillac for underrated. I'm pretty sure a lot of people talk about Pink Cadillac. I don't know. I don't hear nobody talk about it. I don't hear many people talk about Clint Eastwood much in it at all, honestly. I'll go with Pink Cadillac. Underrated Clint Eastwood. But any of the Dirty Harry movies are his best movies. Worst Clint Eastwood movie? $1 Million Baby. That movie fucking sucked. I mean, I swear to God. That movie was so boring, so terrible, unbelievable. And it won an award for Best Movie of the Year. That was ridiculous. That freaking movie sucked. It bored me to death, and I'm a big boxing fan, but golly, that movie bored me so much. Oh my God. And it won Movie of the Year. And this is why I don't like the Oscars. This is why I don't like the Emmys. This is why I don't watch none of that crap. Because they gave that movie Movie of the freaking Year. Only time I thought the Oscars were credible is when they gave The Departed, and I'm not a big Matt Damon fan or Leo DiCaprio fan. I like some Jack Nicholson stuff, but when they gave The Departed Movie of the Year, I was fine with that because that movie was great. Probably one of the best games. I'll probably talk about it next month in Gangster Month. But yeah, that that freaking $1 Million Baby movie sucked. And I know he produced it, and I know he starred in it with Hilary Swank, but that movie sucked. It's like one of the worst movies ever. I would never ever watch that movie again. And plus it was so boring. I about fell asleep, and I'm a boxing fan. And boy, did I hate $1 Million Baby. The movie was terrible. Terrible. Yeah, I just quoted something from Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, which is my favorite Star Wars movie outside of Return of the Jedi. I don't care what people say about Return of the Jedi, that movie's good. Alright, next up, next up we're going to go to Keanu Reeves. I know a lot of people going to say The Matrix. Nope. The best Keanu Reeves movie ever is the greatest guy movie ever. I'll say the same thing for Patrick Swayze, that his best action movie ever is Point Break. That movie is awesome. And honestly, if it wasn't for Terminator 2 coming out that year, I think Point Break would have been the movie of the year of 1991. Because, boy, that movie's so great. I could watch that movie I don't care how many times I've seen that movie. I could watch that movie all day, every day. That's how great Point Break is. And I'm not a fan of Patrick Swayze, but I do like Keanu Reeves stuff. People probably thought I was going to say Speed too, didn't they? Yep, they probably did. Nope, no Speed. No freaking, no Speed. No Matrix. No John Wick, even though those movies are great. Those movies are great. I'm not saying they're not. But this is my personal list, and my best freaking Keanu Reeves action movie is Point Break. Awesome movie. I swear to God, that movie. And I could do a whole video where I talk about all my love for freaking Point Break. That movie is so great. And it's the ultimate guy movie ever. But, you know what? I got a couple more people to say on this list before I go. Let's see. Most underrated Keanu Reeves movie. I'm going to say Johnny Mnemonic. You know, I've heard a lot of people bash that movie over the years. I remember I bought that movie for my grandma for Christmas. I was like, Grandma, what do you want for Christmas? She's like, I want a Keanu Reeves movie. I said, okay. So I went and got her a Keanu Reeves movie. She said, it's not the one I want, but I'll take it because you gave it to me as a Christmas present. I'm like, yeah. I got a little upset first because she was a little ungrateful, but you know what? She probably wanted something like The Matrix or something, but I'm like, yeah, I couldn't find The Matrix. I got you Johnny Mnemonic. It's got Keanu Reeves in it. But, you know, underrated movie, Johnny Mnemonic, from Keanu Reeves. Worst Keanu Reeves movie, I don't know. I want to say the last Matrix movie. But you know what? I love movies about dirty cops and that, but boy, Street Kings sucked. Forrest Whitaker sucked in that movie. Keanu Reeves sucked in that movie. And honestly, I'm just not a fan of frickin' Street Kings. It's like, you know, and I like gangster movies, especially street gang movies. But Street Kings was terrible. It's a terrible movie. Wish they would have made a better movie because Forrest Whitaker and Keanu Reeves deserve better than that. They deserve better than what they got with the frickin' Street Kings movie. And if I didn't choose Street Kings, I probably would have went with frickin' the last Matrix movie because the last Matrix movie was just so stupid. It wasn't as good as the other three. You know, and that's what happens when you make a sequel to a movie and they take like 1,000 years to make the next sequel. It's gonna suck. Kind of like the new Halloween trilogy, even though I like Kills and I thought Ends was okay. But, gee whiz, you know. But, yeah, Street Kings, yeah, one of the worst Keanu Reeves movies. And like I said, I like street gang movies. I like movies about dirty cops. I'm going to watch that one about Ben Affleck and frickin' Matt Damon, because I thought Matt Damon was great in the frickin' one I just talked about with Jack Nicholson. The Departed, yeah. I thought he was a good dirty cop in that movie. So, and you know what? I'm not an Affleck or freaking Damon fan, but I think yeah, I think The Departed. Matt Damon show he could be a good dirty cop. I don't think Ben Affleck's played a dirty cop in a movie yet. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a movie or a show. Because for somebody said it was a show, but I think it's a movie. The way it's being advertised is like it's a movie. But yeah. So I'll probably watch that movie about them two being dirty cops. Even though I don't like either one of the actors. But hey, it is what it is. Alright. And then last, I guess I'll talk about Dwayne Johnson. Of course, you know what? He's made a lot of good action movies since he's got into the world of acting. Like the Fast and Furious movies were good. Faster's pretty good, which I'll talk about Faster in a minute. The Rundown's good. I haven't seen the Walkie Tall movie all the way through. The newer Jumanjis were okay. Weren't as good as the original one. But then again, that's a situation where they took forever to make a sequel to those movies. You know, and I think Robin Williams pretty much made that first one, even though I only watched it because Kirsten Dunst was in it. But yeah, Robin Williams made that first movie. But with Rock, his best movie, of course, is his first solo movie, because he had been in a movie before that called The Mummy Returns. But I love The Scorpion King. The Scorpion King is a really good movie. I think The Scorpion King is still the best Dwayne Johnson movie. And then I'd say his underrated movie, I'd probably go with Faster. And then for worst movie for Dwayne Johnson, Skyscraper. And it's got Nev Campbell in it, but golly, does that movie suck. That movie sucks. Skyscraper. Alright, actually I got one more actor I want to talk about before I end this. That's Mr. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes' best movie, you know what? I still love this movie till this day. And yeah, I know he's done Blade, and those are action movies, even though they're listed as horror. They're action movies. The best Wesley Snipes movie I think he did was New Jack City. Most underrated Wesley Snipes movie. I don't know, I'd go with Blade 2. Well, so many people talk about how great the first Blade is. I don't hear many people talk about Blade 2 that much. I'd go with Blade 2 for underrated. And worst movie, of course, Blade Trilogy. Trinity. Blade Trinity sucked. Michael Jai White. I know I just said I'd talk about one more actor, but then, you know, I might as well get Michael Jai White. That's the reason why I like Exit Wound so much, because Michael Jai White's in it. They redo the fight scene between frickin' Screwface and frickin' Steven Seagal and Marked for Death in that movie with Michael Jai White and frickin' Steven Seagal. But, best Michael Jai White movie, I'm gonna go with Spawn. I don't care what anybody says about that movie being bad. That movie was good. Go with Spawn. Apparently they finally announced that the new Spawn's coming out, I guess. Blumhouse is making it. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what they're saying on some movie channel on YouTube. Spawn, I also like the Undisputed movie he's in. That's pretty good. I know Wesley Snipes did the one with frickin' Ving Rhames, which I thought was a pretty good movie. But, yeah, underrated, I guess the Black Dynamite movie. I don't hear many people talk about that movie, the Black Dynamite movie with Michael Jai White. So, yeah, Black Dynamite. Worst Michael Jai White movie? I don't know. I don't know. Can't think of a bad movie for Michael Jai White. But yeah. Those are the action heroes I talked about that I think made their best movies. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree with some of my opinions? Do you not? Let me know which movie you would have picked for these actors. Patrick Swayze, I don't know. A lot of people say Roadhouse, but I'm going with Point Break. Him and Keanu Reeves were great in that movie. And then his underrated movie, I'll say Next to Kin. Worst movie, it's not an action movie, but Ghost. I hate that movie. I hate Ghost. So I'll go, I don't know, maybe I should say 2-1 Fu for him. Anyway. But, yeah. That's my thoughts on the action movie stars and what I think their best movie is. And it's pretty much the movie that I favor the most out of all of them. So, yeah. This ain't like my word is final thing. It's like, this is my opinion. This is what I think are their best movies. If you don't agree, leave a comment. List up all the action stars I talked about, what you think their best movie is. Anyway. So, Friday, I'm going to be doing the playthrough of Mortal Kombat 2 on the Legacy Collection, the arcade version. Doing a playthrough of that. Monday, I'm going to talk about the James Bond. I'm going to be having a James Bond video. Talk about the future of the movies and all that stuff. And who they might pick to play James Bond if they do make another James Bond movie. And how the heck are they going to do another James Bond movie when they killed him off in No Time to Die. And then Wednesday, I'm going to talk about what AEW needs to do. I'm going to talk about something AEW needs to do that WCW used to do. Especially in the early days, they used to do this. We'll talk about what AEW needs to do that. And then next Friday, got to be a playthrough of the RoboCop Rogue City game, which is a really good game. I know it's a few years old now, but, I'm going to play it this year as a playthrough. Then I'll be back to retro game playing after RoboCop Rogue City. I might throw a few more current games in there along the way as well. But, let's show off my new Retro Center. So when I go back to playing retro games for live stream playthroughs, you get to see my new Retro Center that I got for Christmas from my daughter. But anyway, that'll do it. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. Follow my Facebook fan page, Mr. Hornsby 83 Show. Follow my Facebook business page, Sergeant Toys. And I'll catch you guys Friday. And you know what? I'm going to try to think of a new catchphrase for my freaking closing thing, because you know what? So many people say peace out now, or say peace or something. So you know what? This time I'm going to say, about it. Catch you guys later. Of course, you can tell I just did a rap video Friday. So yeah, live stream. We crowned the king of rap. That's what the poll will be about tomorrow. We'll see if people were satisfied with who I chose as the king of rap, or if they want me to redo it. Catch you guys later.